Today's New Future featured candidate is Len Wells. Len is an experienced HR director, and he's going to give us an overview of who he is. So over to you, Len.
Hi, well, yeah, I'm Len Wells. I'm a senior HR leader. I've gone under the heading or the title of HR director, CPO, senior vice president HR, head of. Generally, I always describe myself as a businessman that specializes in HR. I've worked in a number of industries, and I've been lucky because I've done both employed and contracting work, which means that my industry experience is actually very, very wide, and I've got a lot of breadth to it, as well as depth in the sense of understanding exactly how those organizations work. Types of industry includes construction, rail, retail, engineering. I've worked in aviation, catering, ground handling, so a pretty wide source of backgrounds.
Yeah, good stuff. So that means then that you're able to hit the ground running in most environments because you've been there and seen it.
Very much. I mean, and the great thing I always think is actually bringing the experience from other industries to new industries.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you can become too incestuous with the same ideas being rotated around from one company to another, whereas you can actually bring some new fresh ideas into an industry that's never actually thought about itself in that way.
Yeah, no, definitely. That's valuable experience to bring along, isn't it? So in terms of HR, how do you think data can best be used?
Well, HR has been collecting data for absolute eons. It's always, and most HR functions don't realize the sheer depth and wealth of information they hold. However, like a lot of companies, and including, this isn't just small companies, I've actually worked in some very large, blue chip companies who tend to use data really poorly. And what I mean by that is that I think the best use of data is actually using it in predictive analytics. You can actually identify attrition trends. You can actually identify sickness trends. You can even predict outcomes to interview and recruitment campaigns. Which is very interesting at the moment is you can actually probably identify which of your actual senior managers or even HR teams have actually got an unconscious bias when it comes to BAM and disabled. So again, you can actually identify some of the weaknesses within your own functions, and they're not conscious. They're a lot of time it's unconscious bias, and you can actually then make the training, the actual education programs to actually develop these people so that you don't actually have these mistakes made, and you'll actually have a much more diverse and inclusive workplace.
Which is what everyone wants these days, isn't it? As well.
It is that, and of course also transformations, and diversity and inclusion is just one of the transformations. Obviously, the big one is IT these days, with the fact of people understanding the wealth or the benefit of data, and actually, what do you go in for an Oracle system, SAP system? Is your chosen time and attendance system going to be Workday or a Success Factors or Workforce? I mean, they're basically the different sides of the same coin.
Yeah. Do you have any examples of where you've used data to benefit a business? Don't have to name any names, but have you got any examples that you could provide?
Yeah, well, I mean, I introduced data analytics into a couple of previous companies I've worked with, and that way we were able to actually identify where our when our recruitment pockets were coming up, so that we can actually want of a better way of putting it, develop a sausage factory where we would actually be having candidates primed and ready coming through the system. And I don't just mean at grassroots level. I mean even at some senior appointments.
Okay.
But you're actually getting these candidates coming through ready to, as you said, hit the ground running because they've actually done their inductions, whatever. And yeah, sometimes you might get it wrong. You might be a month off. But the cost of 4 weeks getting someone actually developed within the organisation is nothing against the actual saving in the overtime premiums, especially within the ground floor workforce.
Yeah. Okay, that's great. Thanks for that. And so moving on then. So in terms of your experience and what you've done over the years, what problems do you solve for businesses?
Well, they are wide and wonderful. I've never ever come across one job that's a complete clone of another. It could be, and quite often actually going into an organisation with one brief and actually going to see the CEO and actually saying, well, after the initial investigation, actually what you're asking me to do, I'll do it by all means, but it's wrong for the business, and actually provide the sort of objective viewpoint of data that's perhaps been missed by, the internal team that's been there for years. Because very often, you get clouded by, you can't see the wood through the trees. You're in there with all the muck and bullets. Whereas, coming in from outside, you're often taking that more, holistic global view, and you can actually see where the paths are through the forest a lot clearer. And actually point out that, well, if we set those projects aside, but actually identify on another area, and I did that quite recently, within the last few years, for a company, and we actually improved their bottom line performance by 100%.
Really?
Which actually then led on to an acquisition of that company, which everybody was very happy for, including the parent company.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, everyone likes to see their bottom line improve, but that's 100% is huge. How did you achieve that?
That was actually delayering some age-old structures that had been in place. The company had never ever faced a redundancy situation, hence the cry from the senior management team is, can we call it something else? And I think, well, you can call it whatever you like, but at the end of the day, whether it's downsizing or restructuring, we're going to be letting people go. And we took out about 200 employees, removed a couple of layers of management, increased the responsibility of the first line supervisors. And amazingly, you had people actually stepping up, making that change willingly and readily, and actually the whole operation running far more smoother. And of course, obviously with the reduced overhead costs, actually coming out of a recession as it was at the time, it was then making huge amounts of profit.
Amazing. Yeah, I bet everybody was happy with that then.
Very much so.
Good stuff. So Len, you mentioned that you've got a broad breadth of experience, and you've worked in a variety of different roles. Moving forward, your next opportunity.
Yeah.
Ideally, what would you like? Are you looking for permanent contract? And is there a particular kind of project or company profile that you're looking for?
Really, I mean, I'm probably best suited to anything from 500 to 30,000 employees. That's the sort of band I'm not the number one for a 100,000 employee company. I would be bored silly sitting in a boardroom, coming up with blue sky thinking all the time. Full credit to the guys that can. It's not me. I like a combination of strategic and operational, which generally between the 500 and 30,000 employee, you can actually get that sort of combination of role, something which where they need some transformational change anyway, or they've got problems that they want to sort out. that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a challenge. I don't really want to go into an organization that's, well, everything's perfect and wonderful and all I've got to do is turn up. That's not me.
Yeah.
I like life to be interesting.
Yeah, you like a challenge.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Okay. Well, look, Len, it's been great speaking to you. I think that's given everybody a great overview of who you are and what you're capable of. So if there are any companies, clients, hiring managers listening to this video today and would like to find out a little bit more about Len, then reach out to one of us and I'm sure we'll be able to provide you with the information you need. Thanks very much for your time today, Len.
Thanks very much.